Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this year I am planning on doing a section hike of the Colorado Trail, and I was wanting to replace the tent that I was currently using. So I picked up a Durston X Mid 1 and I thought I'd give you guys a quick review on it. I'll get into the specs and we'll set this thing up, and it's supposed to rain tonight, so my plan is to set it up here in the backyard and let it rain on it, see if it leaks. Heck, I don't know, I might get ambitious and even sleep in it. If that's not too weird, sleeping in a tent in your backyard. But yeah, let's get into the specs. All right, for the specs on this, you didn't think I could actually memorize this, so pulled them up on the old iPhone here. So it comes with the fly and the inner tent, and you can set them up separately. I'm choosing to use them both because bugs love to eat on me. But the complete tent weight of it, as stated on their website, all this I'm getting from Durston's website, by the way. Complete tent weighs 25.4 ounces. The stuff sack's 0.3 ounces. Stakes are optional. We'll get into that a little bit later here. They say the typical setup is 28.5 ounces. That's with the stuff sack and 6 stakes. So kind of depends on what stakes you get. The dimensions, the floor length is 93 inches. The floor width, 33 inches. The peak height's 47. And it says the fly footprint is 65 inches by 100 inches. Not too bad for a one-person tent. The pack size, they say 12 by 5, so that's about right. Materials. So the canopy fabric is a 15D silk poly. The floor fabric, 15D silk poly in gray. YKK zippers, 2-year warranty. So now we got all that boring stuff out of the way. Let's get this out of the stuff sack and get this tent set up so you guys can take a better look at it. All right, as we get into the setup, guys, I apologize if you hear car noise in the background. I kind of live on a busy street, little county highway here, so bear with me on that. But like I said, this is a stuff sack. I've got my own stakes. I chose not to buy Durston stakes. I already had some stakes from Z-Packs that I was using with my other tent, so I'm going to keep on using those. But I'll go ahead and get this out. I'll just go through a whole typical setup, show you guys from start to finish. There's a couple key points that they point out on the website on how to set this thing up correctly. So hopefully I can show you guys, because I have set this up one other time just to make sure I knew what I was doing. But if you saw me throw those, I've got a couple extra guy lines that I'm going to put on here that didn't come with it. I'll show you guys that too. So pull it all out of the stuff sack, and when it comes from Durston, it's going to come separated, the fly and the inner. And a little close to the camera, those corners, they just have this little clip right here that clip them in there. So if you just wanted to set up the fly, you just take these all 4 corners off, and there's two up in the ceiling of the tent itself, so you can undo those as well and just set up the fly or just set up the inner itself. All right, so the important thing here is the geometry of this tent is a little different than most, and you really need to get all 4 corners out perfectly. You basically want a perfect square, perfect 90-degree angles. So I'm just gonna go around, pull it all out as straight as I can get it. And then what I'll do is I'll start in one corner, and I'll grab this stake. Now I pull these strings out about halfway. That'll keep the tent a lot closer to the ground. So here's where we're getting the important stuff here, is really nice and taut and straight corners. That's what they say the key is. No, this is a little tedious on camera, but this is one of the important things to show. So right here, we really want a good 90-degree angle down there on that second stake that I put in. That is going to really help you get a good pitch on this tent. And then for the final and last one, like I said, we're trying to get a good square here. All right, to give you guys a little bit better shot, this is what the corners look like. And when I put the stake in, I try to keep it fairly close to the tent, and then you still have a little bit of adjustment if you need to tighten it up a little bit more, but this will keep it a lot closer to the ground, especially in a storm situation. All right, the next step, we're gonna open up our trekking poles. I open the top part of mine are sliding. Open that one all the way, and then I just loosen the bottom. You wanna grab your zipper, undo it, and I'll get a close-up of how these go in. So if you have the regular, not the pro, they have in this cup in here, they have a spot for your trekking pole to go upside down. The spike actually goes inside it. And then, again, you can't see this, but I'll show close-ups. There's a little loop down there, and I just kind of raise my trekking pole up to where the tent's pretty tight. Clip it, zip it back down. All right, same thing on this side. Go up to about the max. Loosen this one up. Unzip this door. Insert it to the little grommet in here. And like I said, there's a little bungee in here that goes around your trekking pole just to pull everything out. And then just tighten it up. It's pretty taut. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go around and just tighten all the corners, all 4 corners. And you can see the way I left these and set them up to begin with, close to the ground. If you're gonna have a storm, that's gonna keep you from getting any rain splash in, any wind, anything like that. It also has tie outs here at the end of each where your trekking pole is. You can actually pull out and stake in as well. I don't think I'm gonna need that tonight. I'm not expecting much wind, but that'll really give the ridge line a lot more strength that way. So maybe I will, maybe I won't, we'll see. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is there's a little guy out here over by the zipper. Same thing, I'm gonna leave it pretty close and you guy out your vestibule that way. So we'll do that on each side. And that's just gonna pull everything a little bit tighter, a little bit closer to the ground. You'll see in a minute once I open the doors up, it'll really help keep that vestibule open as well. And if you do see any parts that are sagging after that, you can go ahead and retighten your corners. All right, so there it is. So far, so good. Like I said, this is only, I think this is the 3rd time I've set this up. Once when I first got it, I took it to a meetup and got it out and showed some of my buddies who were thinking about buying it, set it up. So I'm getting better at it. It's really not that hard. I see people have trouble with it every once in a while, but it takes a little practice. I've had 2 other trekking pole tents, so you know, that helps. But one other feature I really like is they have the vents. See if I can do this one-handed. And then they've got just a little stay underneath there to prop it out, get some airflow in there. This is not easy one-handed, but there we go. Ta-da. So one of those on each side. That'll help with condensation. And one of the things I like about this tent is it is double walled, where my last tent was not. And man, condensation, especially here in the Midwest, Indiana, where I live, it's a real thing. All right, zipper pulls right here, YKK zippers, and it is got like the rubber seam, so the waterproof zippers. Well, this will zip up and you can roll this back. And another great feature is no more of the little toggles. This is a magnetic toggle right there. Bam, I love that. Super simple. All right, you can see you get plenty of storage in here. You could fit a backpack, no problem. There is a strap that goes around your trekking pole there, and you can kind of pull on it and adjust it if your floor isn't perfect. Depends if you got OCD like I do or not. But nice zippers on each side. And again, you can roll these back, and it has a little magnetic clip too. All right, we'll take a closer look on the inside. So I've got a little bit of a wrinkle in my floor down there. I think that corner could have been pulled at a little bit different angle. It would have helped, but all in all, not bad. Like I said, I'm getting better. Also has pockets up on each end. So I like that. There's also a pocket up here in the top on each side, so you can store lots of stuff in there. I'll throw my pad in and show you guys, you know, what it looks like with a regular size pad in it. All right, I went ahead and threw in, I've got a tensor, regular wide pillow in there, my Trekology, but you can see I have plenty of room. And then down at the end, you'd have room down there as well. But I plan on keeping my pack right there. I think that'll be good to go. Yeah, I'm going to button this all up. Like I said, who knows? I might sleep in it tonight. I don't know. But definitely going to button up, let it sit overnight tonight. Once it starts raining, we're going to get some good storms. And I'll check back in the morning with you guys and let you know how it did. All right, guys. I don't know how good this is going to come out. I'm trying to do this with my iPhone because the GoPro will not, definitely will not film dark situations, but it's about 11 o'clock at night. We are getting one heck of a rainstorm. Pretty good winds too, so this will be a pretty good test, the old Durston X vid. Check in the morning, make sure everything in there stays dry. All right, come out to check it out. Got a little visitor. A little bunny that my dog loves to chase. There he goes. All right, so let's get in this thing and see how it held the storms off last night. I don't know if it'll show up on video, but definitely some raindrops still on it and that. So, all right, we'll open it up and check it out. All right, well, I got in here, inspected everything, and dry as a bone. So I have to report that absolutely, I can't find one drop of water anywhere. So that's pretty good. We had pretty good storms last night, so that's really what this test was about. Also just to do a review for you guys, but I wanted to make sure before I get this thing out in like a trail or even out to Colorado later this year that I'm not gonna have any problems with rain getting in. All right, so a few more things about this tent before we end this review. So this X Mid 1, they make it in a couple different options. I've got the Sil Poly, and the price comes in at $239 for this tent. So I think it's hard to beat. This is a great tent for $239. They do make the X Mid 1 Pro. The difference there would be, instead of Sil Poly, you're gonna have Dyneema, but you're gonna pay a premium for that. It's gonna be $549. So depends what your budget is. So the weight difference between the Pro and the 1, on their website, they say their typical setup with the Pro would be 17.6. So if I remember correctly, this is like 28. So you are going to save 12 ounces, but you're going to pay, you know, $300 more, 310, something like that. So depends what your budget is. I would say either one of them would be fine. They also sell a ground sheet. If you're interested in one of those, they do clip in to the bottom down at the clips on all four corners. It's $43. Right now I have the Poly Cryo or whatever this stuff is. I think I might go for the ground sheet because this stuff, even though it's super light, it's just an absolute pain in the butt to get stretched out. If it's windy, good luck keeping this stuff down. So I fought with this stuff enough. I may go ahead and upgrade to that. But other than that, guys, I am really pleased with this tent. I would say if you are in the market for a tent, a one-person light tent, check out Durston Gear, the X Mid 1. If you guys have any questions, comments about the tent, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share. We'll see you guys out on the trail.